everyone, it's Diego Reyes for CNN Philippines 10, where we break down major stories from here and abroad into bite-sized facts in 10 minutes. It's always a great idea to begin with some good news. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas says it expects inflation to finally slow down after prices of basic goods were at multi-year highs in December. While inflation isn't a positive thing per se, the idea of it cooling down is something to look forward to. Last month, inflation surged to 8.1% to cap 2022 at an average of 5.8%. This data piled good news atop of bad news. The Philippine Statistics Authority and the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas signal that the worst of inflation may be behind us. And the central bank now says better days may be ahead.
The numbers are saying that there's a slowdown, but there's still a threat in terms of these items because the weight of the food basket in the overall inflation is quite substantial.
The central bank forecasts softer prices this year so that inflation could swing nearer its full-year goal. In a statement, the Bangko Sentral says it's prepared to use all tools to bring inflation back to target. Among the commodities that contributed to food inflation is onion, where prices zoomed 7 times more to over 700 pesos per kilogram. To solve this, President Bongbong Marcos approved the importation of 21,060 metric tons of onions, fewer by 8,000 metric tons recommended by the Agriculture Department. The supply is expected to arrive later this month or the first week of February. With this, the DA hopes that prices will soon decline to the 150 to 200 pesos per kilogram range amid the harvest season. Meanwhile, some employees will receive a higher take-home pay this year because of lower income tax rates. Lower tax rates are in line with the Train Law. Depending on the salary, income tax may be down by 2 to 5%. The new reduced tax rates are applicable to individual income taxpayers, the employed, those engaged in a profession, or a mix of these. Relief in sight for bus commuters yet again, with free rides seen to return on the EDSA bus carousel. Transport regulators hope to bring back the libreng sakay by next month. The LTFRB says it is only waiting for the drawdown of funds from the budget department.
Tatagal po ito hanggang mga July. We will be asking for supplemental budget from the DOTR po para tuloy-tuloy po ito. Ang sabi naman sa amin, pag kinapos po yung budget, they will make funds for it para year-round ang libreng sakay.
Buses will still run for 24 hours, a huge help for passengers, especially those in the graveyard shift. Transport officials also want to speed up the headway between buses to just 2 to 3 minutes. Transport network company Grab Philippines brings back its carpooling service to address the sharp increase in passenger demand amid the low pool of drivers. Known as Grab Share, Grab seeks to maximize existing cars on the road with a service which allows passengers to share a ride with other commuters at cheaper rates. The ride-hailing firm suspended the service when the COVID-19 pandemic struck in March 2020. Looking forward to the Metro Manila subway? Well, tunneling for the project has begun using the tunnel boring machines from Japan. These are giant cutters that can dig soil that can fill up to 2,500 swimming pools. The Transport Department aims to finish the subway before 2028 ends. It was initially targeted for completion in 2025, then moved to 2026 due to the pandemic.
Given our timelines, I'd like to emphasize to our countrymen that big-ticket projects such as this take years to be completed. So I ask not only for your continued patience, but also for your continued trust and support for the government.
Officials are also seeking for understanding from commuters on the possible traffic congestion that the construction can cause. They also promise that once the subway's 17 stations are done, commuters will travel for only 46 minutes from Valenzuela to Bicutan in Parañaque. The Energy Department urges consumers to conserve energy as prices and demand are expected to go up in the coming months. Simple changes in behavior and opting for more energy-efficient appliances are easy ways to avoid bill shock, it says. Based on the agency's supply and demand outlook for 2023, critical dates when the Luzon grid could be under yellow alert are on the whole month of May and some weeks of March, April, June, September, October, and until November. Yellow alert means power reserves are not enough to cover the highest running generating unit for a certain period of time. It can escalate to a red alert if the balance of supply and demand worsens, which can lead to rotating power interruptions. In news abroad, President Joe Biden made his first visit to the US-Mexico border as chief executive. His brief visit focused on enforcement issues and talks with border personnel. Bipartisan lawmakers have been calling for government action on the immigration crisis. After 3 years under zero COVID-19 restrictions, Beijing's borders are open again as China lifted quarantine requirements for inbound travelers. While the first international flight landed in Guangzhou City, a number of destinations are imposing restrictions on travelers from China. Weeks into January, most of us are taking our time in losing fats gained from the holidays. Here's a guide to weight loss and better health as we kick off the year.
Usually, we have big goals come this January. That's wherein we set tatawag natin New Year's resolution, di ba? So we tend to do the big goal in a short span of time, and doon nagkakaproblema. Kasi kapag if you do that time and you met a lot of setbacks, usually kung mapapansin natin, pag January to March, that's the time na ganado yung mga tao to work out, meron silang new clothes, new memberships, they do into diets. Pero pagdating ng bandang March or April, nagda-die down na siya. Kasi nga hindi natin pinlan siya ahead of time. So, di ba sabi nila, if you want to win the war, you have to win the battles. So, for example, yung winning battles, like kunyari yung war mo is losing 20 pounds. So, your mini battles along the way is you go and have enough sleep, maintain your calorie required for youth, and constant exercise. Siguro yun the challenges is yun nga, not having, hindi kumakain ng enough protein. Kasi protein should be composed by at least 20 to 30% of your total caloric intake. So if you do a lot of bad stuff, for example, hindi mo nasunod yung diet mo, the program, usually ang tendency is magki-quit ka na eh. Or pag nakita mo, mag-snowball effect siya, ay sige, Monday na lang ako mag-workout. So try to categorize it as your, I did my best today, yesterday I did better, or kung napakain ka this day, that's your less favorable choice. And you can bounce back directly. So if you do that like a balance sheet, mas mabilis ka makakabalik dun sa main goal mo. Kasi yun nga, tulad ng sabi natin, if you want to win the war, you have to win those small battles ahead of you.
In athletics, Asia's best pole vaulter EJ Obiena is gearing up for his first assignment of the year. He is set to lead the country in the 10th Asian Indoor Athletics Championships scheduled for February 10 to 12 in Kazakhstan. The Philippine Athletics Track and Field Association says this is part of the country's preparation for 3 major tournaments this year. Meanwhile, college basketball star Carl Tamayo bid sayonara to the UP Fighting Maroons in the UAAP. On Instagram, Tamayo says he is turning pro as he accepts an offer to play in the Japan B-League. The former UAAP Rookie of the Year also says becoming a professional basketball player has been a lifelong dream. He adds that it will help him take care of his family while playing the game he loves. Tamayo spent 2 seasons with the Diliman-based squad in the UAAP, where he was a key piece in UP's championship campaign in season 84. UP, however, failed in its attempt to win back-to-back titles in the recently concluded season 85. In entertainment, Golden Globe-nominated actress Dottie De Leon makes Pinoys proud once again as she makes it to British Vogue's 30 World's Most Famous Stars on the magazine's annual Hollywood portfolio. Also on the list are A-listers like Cate Blanchett and Michelle Yeoh. And now, for 10-second trivia. Which among these religious images has the oldest relics in the country? Black Nazarene, Santo Niño de Cebu, St. John the Baptist, or Virgin Mary? Santo Niño de Cebu has the oldest religious relics in the country. It was a baptismal gift to Hara Amihan of Cebu by Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan in 1521, who also brought Christianity to the Philippines. To honor the child Jesus, Cebuano celebrates Sinulog Festival every 3rd Sunday of January through a dance ritual. And that's it for CNN Philippines 10. I'm Jego Reyes, giving you news you can use, news you can trust in 10 minutes. Thanks for joining me today, and see you again next time.